Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention?
This is my final MAFS-related interview.
What sort of villain gets that?
It's Australia's reaction.
It's an
This
exclusive.
is an exclusive. That's hitting the cutting room floor, bro.
Caused a lot of drama and it never got aired.
It just went nuts.
Special announcement. It's another episode of Back to Reality, and I was earlier than Selina to the studio today.
Once.
What's up, girl? How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah?
I'm excited for this episode because the last episode, guys, was very unhinged.
Mm-hmm.
I love it though. I wonder if today's guest will be doing the same and bringing the same energy.
Oh my God.
We have Timothy from this year's MAFS. I cannot wait to chat to him. I reckon I judged him too soon.
I can say the same as well. I think I was also judging him as well, as a partner in a relationship that we're speculating on instead of just looking at him from an individual standpoint, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I think the more that I actually got to know Tim as a person, just through the show and everything that he's been through, I actually have a lot of respect for him. Honestly.
Yeah, there are a lot of layers to this man.
A lot.
So we've got a lot to get into today.
Come on now. Without further ado, man, let's get into it. We're recording on Gadigal land. Strap your seats in. Let's go.
Woo.
Everybody help me welcome Timothy.
What's
up, my man?
Finally.
How he's going? Huh?
This is so crazy, man. I
know.
can't believe we got him in the studio, man.
First of all, I want to apologise because one of our first, MAFS 2024 related episode, we did our predictions, right? And when I saw your photo pop up for the first time, I said...
I'm really curious on this.
I said, Tim's giving me dodgy car salesman's vibes. Like he could sell ice to an Eskimo. Look at his face. I'm sorry. That's what I'm saying. Sorry.
And when I seen her years ago, I had a little bit of a crush on her and I felt bad for her. And then she sees me and goes, dodgy car salesman.
I know, and I don't know if you watched the season before. Do you remember Dan?
Yes.
That was matched with Sandy.
Yes,
I was he's giving Dan 2.0. And I was like, when I started watching the show, I
Turn
felt
the knife.
so bad. So I'm sorry, Tim.
That's a stake to the heart right there.
I
my
didn't
man.
see the episode, but I'm like, slimy car salesman. Wow. Huh?
From dodgy to slimy, that just took it 100.
You know, I heard a thing on the radio once because I did sell real estate that your local sex worker is more trusted than your local real estate agent.
Oh my
so,
God.
you know,
Wow.
Really?
it's must be on track, you know?
Wow. I'm going to use that information somewhere, somehow. We're going to have to find a way. But hey, man, so you just flew in this morning, right?
I flew in this morning, yeah.
That's amazing. How's your flight?
thank
You
you.
good?
It was good. I've flown in actually to pick up my car as well. So it's a two-prong. It worked out really, really well. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's beautiful.
I broke down
Nice.
last time I was here in Sydney.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
And
I was heading to
Tristan-
Queensland last time I was in Sydney and broke down
Yeah.
here. I drove my new Raptor into a river.
How do you do that?
Well, I didn't think it was as deep as what it was, and it turns out it's pretty deep.
Oh, no.
So I cooked the engine, even though it's only 6 months old.
Oh, my
Yeah.
God.
So
But, hey, man, you know what? There's some things that I feel like happen for a reason.
True.
Because if that didn't happen, maybe we wouldn't have you right
wouldn't
now.
be right here.
True.
Come on now, my man.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for coming through, man. This is beautiful.
It's good. I've always enjoyed watching the clips, and you guys are a lot of fun.
Thanks so much,
I
man.
know, and I
Honestly.
know this is legit because out of the whole cast this year, Tim's the only one that legit followed me.
Wow, man, come on now.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That speaks volumes right there. I ain't gonna
I
lie
know,
to
I
you.
didn't realise until we met because we
Right.
met for the first time at the viewing party.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, why can't I tag everyone else? I'm like, I can only tag Timothy. Like, what's going on? And then I realised it's because we were already following each other.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's always very, very weird, in between that space of, people just come from a show and it's the podcast people trying to get you on the show. You just hey man, I just need a little bit of time to cool off a little bit. But, we just very relaxed. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I have
pressure.
had the fortune and misfortune of dealing with the podcast world. Wow. It
Yeah.
seems to be a very really what am I trying to say? Competitive world.
Clicky.
Yeah. Very
You can say that.
political.
Yeah, it seems to be very political here in in
Oh,
Australia.
why do you say that? Like you saying that we're competing with some people that you don't like, or what are you saying, Tim?
Look, I like everybody. You know, I'll take everyone on face value until you piss me off.
We know that.
Then we got a problem.
Yeah, I know, but that's what we love about you, though.
100%.
Has there been anyone in particular that's really pissed you off? And you're like, bro, I haven't even met you yet, and you're already, you know, shit. What was it pissing in my cornflakes, as you would say?
God, the pissing in my cornflakes.
Has anyone pissed on your cornflakes yet?
What, in the podcast world?
Yeah.
You know, I have been uninvited to a few things. You know, I would say that one podcast has decided not to have me on.
Why would they not have you on?
Because I've already done another podcast. So it just seems to be that. I heard them the other day talking about, like, look, I understand it's reality TV. You know, we're all built on a character that is essentially us.
Yeah.
So
are you saying these are other fellow MAFS contestants that have their own podcast?
I would say that.
Okay.
And normally I don't, to be honest, I watch the highlight reels on TikTok, but I don't actually get stuck into, I don't watch the full episodes of it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But of course Jackie Boy was on it, so I had to, and I did see them sort of leaning more towards maybe since they found out that I did something else, they must be leaned a little more towards the edit of Jack favourite over me.
Right.
But, you know, I don't... This is what I figure. I went through, or we all went through the 12 weeks of hell, where it could be called Survivor or Last Man Standing. That's what Married at First Sight should be renamed.
I guess
Yeah.
so. She said SAS.
And... You know, this is our time. So, you know, I like to talk to, you know, I'll talk to anyone and everyone. And that's just how it is. And, you know, if you don't like it, too bad. So sad.
Yeah.
Well, look, man, regardless, like, we're still very grateful that you actually took the time to come on here, though. You know what I'm saying?
I appreciate it. It's, and we've caught up a couple times at different events. And
that's what's up.
And I've seen, like I said, I've seen the highlights, and you two have got a great energy.
Come on, man.
You know?
Yeah.
Energy is our currency, man. Speaking about energy, man, honestly, I think it's actually so interesting, you know, being, you know, like in this presence right now, like where we have people that we've seen on TV and the energy just doesn't quite match. But you are actually exactly how I saw you on TV. I ain't gonna lie to you. I was like, I wonder how it's gonna be like when I see him in person. But honestly, this is great. Because there are a lot of people that actually play roles, you know what I'm saying? Or like they've seen the show a little bit beforehand and they see a character that they want to be like, but not you, bro. Genuinely, you've actually come on and you were 100% yourself.
Yeah.
And it matches right now.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I appreciate. Well, it wasn't. I couldn't act, and I think I've said this before, but me and Lou did have a deal, and everyone goes, "Oh, you had a deal," and the deal was that we wouldn't talk after. We wouldn't talk after we went to the commitment or the dinner party. The next morning before the camera crew got there, because I can't act, and most probably whatever I'm going to say, I'm not sure what we're going to say. I'm not sure. So I would leave and go to the gym and go for breakfast, and then the crew would call me up and say, "We're ready," and they would let me do that. They would wait till the last minute. I'd walk upstairs. We'd sit down. She'd ask me how the gym was or how breakfast was, and then we'd go, "So, what do you think about last night?" And so everything had to be just straight off.
In real time.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, we never had a debrief at all. We never even asked each other what was said in Voxies. It was all not one time. Even when she was pissed off or I was pissed off, we never ever spoke about one Voxie. What did you say or did you nothing ever?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. So
Did
what
you-
do you guys talk about then?
We would talk, but when it comes to sort of those dinner parties, well, I mean, you've been on the show.
Yeah.
Sometimes you debrief and then you get the first of it
Strategize
out.
as well,
Yeah.
And then that crew comes in.
And they have to do
and
it
then
all
you've
over
got
again.
You've got to do it again.
Yeah.
But the first, it's reality TV. The second take's never going to be as good as the first take.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Well, that's actually very, very interesting, man, isn't it?
Yeah, that makes sense because Cody hated doing that. And he's like, it's fake. I'm like, dude, it's not fake. It's TV.
It's TV,
It has to
that's
flow.
true.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Because I think Benny Boy tried to control the narrative.
Okay.
and and he tried to just script what he was going to say, and that's why it just comes off. That's why you just see these long rants where he, instead of just being you, it's just these long, and he's looking for the words. Just use words that you understand.
So do you think off camera he was having a different conversation with Elle versus when the cameras were on? Is that what you mean?
I believe so.
Really?
Yeah.
Talking about social media, actually, I actually want to go to that. How has it been like getting your social media back?
Well, we all went a little bit rogue this year.
I know you did. You made a TikTok and it's
Well,
blowing
we all
up.
did. I was most pretty fourth in line. I was watching Lauren's, then I was
Yes.
watching Sarah's.
Yep.
Then I see Tristan popped off. And my first TikTok had 95 followers. So it's
Yeah.
not like... And so I thought we're 4 weeks out. I've seen everyone else doing it. All I did was made a TikTok and then me walking on the beach. And
Yeah.
so, but we got Insta back yesterday. I mean, I'm not that great on social media. I'm trying to.
He's being humble, guys. One of his TikToks has blown up to like 1.5 million views.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, what you tell
What's
us
that
what
about,
you
Tim?
were talking about.
What are you talking about? You're not that great.
What you talking about, Willis?
You're talking about what you mean? Man said, I'm not really that great on TikTok.
Yeah,
That minute,
literally.
it's just a little something. But you yourself, though, boy, you know what I'm saying? I think that's what social media needs a little bit more of. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Organic content is AI every time. We don't know what the fuck is real no more. You know what
I
I'm
know.
saying?
Apparently, I spelt something wrong this morning, and Lou sent me a message and said I spelt something wrong in the caption, and I'm like, fuck it. They got what I meant.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Right there. So what's this TikTok, man, that blew up?
It was obviously about Keegan that caught the $1 million fish, and a pretty hot topic.
Yeah.
And it was an awesome story for Australia, and I think
Yep.
it was an awesome story for Indigenous kids
Yeah.
in the north.
Yep.
I think the whole thing, you could just see it was just one of those after what happened in Sydney 2 weeks ago,
Yes.
and just everything that's happened. It was one of those. This fishing competition's been going for 9 years, so I thought it was pretty cool. And this kid won $1 million.
Yeah.
He caught a fish, and Sky News and Pete Stefanovic thought that they would take a couple of cheap shots at something he did 5 years ago when he was 14. When you first get into TV or you're on a reality show, that it's quite intimidating when you're first in front of a TV
Yes.
camera and you first go to a studio.
Yep.
So imagine for the Northern Territory and Keegan, like being on national TV, it was a big deal. It was a big deal for him, his family, his community.
Yeah.
And to have somebody take a cheap shot at him, so I just thought I'd fire one across the bow, which was, I knew Pete 20 years ago, and we got up to a little bit of shit ourselves. And so, you shouldn't throw stones when you live in glass houses.
Oh my God,
True.
what a saying.
And we're all not perfect. Clearly, I've admitted I'm not perfect. I know I made some stupid decisions.
Yep.
I know he made some stupid decisions. But I don't think it's right to, especially when that's sort of what my whole point
Yeah,
was.
exactly. Yeah.
Is when I seen that every other journalist in Australia treated Keegan with nothing but respect.
Yeah.
And was happy to see this one person.
Yep.
Which, look, to be honest, I didn't have a beef before.
Yep.
Most people don't have a beef now. But clean your shit up, man.
Yeah.
Don't just take those cheap shots. Because I've started to see a little bit. And it's kind of like your MO, and it's
not cool.
It's not the way to go.
Now, just going back quickly to making mistakes and your past, I just want to address, because you had or have a criminal record, which I was a bit like shooketh when I saw the current affair.
I was shook
Special
up. Imagine
episode.
how I felt. No, just-
But like, were you ever scared that was going to come out whilst you were filming?
Oh, yeah, I was a little bit worried. It was 16 years ago. I was definitely worried. I was worried.
Yeah, because
That they did And in defence of Married at First Sight and Channel 9, they do background checks, and you could call me wrong for not stating what I had, and this is where I don't care. In the sense, I made a mistake, I paid for it, I paid the ultimate price.
Yeah.
And if anyone's seen The Current Affair, I don't take it lightly, I don't take it as a joke.
Yeah.
And I mostly won't get into it here just because I still pay the price today.
Wow.
And you are, after 10 years, eligible for a marijuana, for a pardon. You can apply.
Okay.
And I am actually eligible for that. I just haven't applied. So I just wanted to move on with life.
How long were you in prison for?
About 1.5 years total.
Okay.
Which doesn't seem like a long time.
A lot of stuff happened to you, like personally, within that time.
My world just turned upside down when I
Yeah.
got out. It was just complete upside down. And I can't even describe what it was like for the time that I was locked up, and then coming back, and then because the States deported me back to here, and then I went back to Canada and lived my life for another 8, almost 10 years. Wow. And then I got deported again because then Canada found out, and then it seems to just roll on, and you just keep paying over and over for something.
Wow.
Which I think is a bit of bullshit, because there are good people that just make a mistake once.
Yeah.
Like, my total time in that world was about 3 months, was total time.
Wow.
So it wasn't like I was this big time that went on for years and years.
Yeah.
But I did start at the top of the food chain, meaning, I just jumped in a helicopter and, the first time I ever seen weed was in bundles.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember listening to a radio segment of yours, and you said that you didn't actually know how to drive a plane, but you learnt off YouTube.
No, I didn't know how to fly a helicopter. It was a helicopter because I've got to land in trees. So it was a full-on 206 Jet Ranger helicopter.
Do you know how to fly an aircraft, period?
I don't. I know I can fly. I flew that. Obviously, I flew that helicopter quite a bit, and it's a pretty advanced, fast, rocking helicopter.
Yeah.
I took about 5 hours of lessons, but I had a game that I was also learning, like
a simulation
game, and I was watching YouTube a lot, or watching videos just on how to
operate one,
how the startup and everything goes, just to bring me up to speed.
God. Kids don't do this at home.
Lessons weren't going as fast as what we needed to move. So after about 5 hours, I had to go pick the helicopter up. I'd never flown solo. The helicopter that we purchased was ready to be picked up. And then when I went and seen it, I was going to get a pilot to pick it up, somebody that knew how to fly it.
Yeah.
And then they said, it's ready to be picked up. And I went out to my friend in the car and said, look, they want me to pick up the helicopter. What do I do? And he goes, what do you want to do? And I said, I don't know. Give me the bag in the back seat. And it was my gym bag. And he said, what's with the bag? And I said, well, whenever I go to the airport, I see the pilots pulling a bag. I'll take a bag with me. Like it had
just
nothing
to look like
in
what's
it.
going on.
Just to look like I knew what I was doing.
My God,
Threw
this
the
is
bag on the back seat and fired that thing up.
You know that movie? Is it Catch Me If You Can with Leonardo DiCaprio? This is what that's giving me.
I started in bartending because I couldn't, construction work wouldn't last in North America over the winter. So I started in bartending, and I made up a bit of a fake resume to get a job in a bar. And then the first day bartending, they're asking for cocktails, and I have no clue what to do.
What's going on?
But I managed to fake my way into it.
Your life is literally that movie.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You've just been, it's almost like learning a new language while speaking it.
Right, I got a job in the mines driving those trucks when I was like 17.
God.
I didn't know how to do it. My grandfather just said, tell him you're a truck driver, tell him. Yeah. And then I got a job driving those big trucks, but I'd never actually driven one.
Oh my God.
I just remember my first shift going, I'm going to kill somebody in this thing, and you just got to figure it out. Sink or swim.
Wild, man.
You've got some big kahunas. I'd be too scared.
I do, and a very little brain.
Nah, you got some big brains to be flying a helicopter with only 5 hours of learning, my G. That is crazy. But we brought you in to talk about MAFS. I don't even have interest talking about MAFS no more. We got
Yeah,
what the?
you have stories. Wow.
But we could have like a 3-episode series.
I know, right?
I know. It's I guess nobody else in MAFS has got the backstory. That
Yeah,
sort of
like we haven't had a criminal yet, so
Right. There's a few different podcasts I could go on.
This is the first and the last word. If you want to go anywhere else, come back give round 2, bruv.
But do you think, like, if I don't know, if it did get leaked, like if Nine found out and it was a part of the storyline, did you think you were going to be perceived as a villain if this was leaked? Do you know what I mean?
I told Lucinda on day 2.
Oh, Lou knew.
Lou knew.
Okay.
Lou knew the whole time. Wow. I wanted to be up front. I made a distinct decision when I did it that it was marijuana at the time, which
Yep.
I'm not dismissing in any way, that it was still illegal to do.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to be straight up. And then
Yep.
a couple of days later, when we got back from honeymoon, I said, "Are you 100% sure?" She said,
Yeah.
"Look, it was 15 years ago. By then, we'd had a couple of days, and
Yeah.
and she got to know me and realised that sometimes decent people just make a stupid mistake."
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But I
Absolutely.
feel like with MAFS and the production, they can swish the narrative wherever they kind of want. Like that could have been so easy for them to be like, villain, bad man.
I don't know.
Did that thought never came to your head?
No, I never thought of production as a villain or this or that or whatever. I think you are just who you are.
Absolutely.
Really?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I really, really do. You can't make somebody say something, do something, or be who they're not. If you're a shitty person at the core of who you are, you're a shitty person.
True.
Some of the people that have said some of the things on the show. Okay, let's just get stuck into it. Jackie
Let's go.
Boy,
Yep.
the whale comment. I was at the side of the house with Tristan for half the day. We were just talking about insecurities
Yeah.
and body image, and I talked about the fact that I had dyslexia as a kid, and I always got embarrassed like spelling or reading in front of people,
Yeah.
and blah blah blah. So we all have these insecurities,
Yep.
and I guess body. That was his trigger. I told him my trigger, and I said, we've all got something. We've all got an Achilles heel there.
Yes.
But Jack said what he said, and if you watch after the show, and I haven't actually said this as well, I see that him and Harrison have hooked up, and they made a comment on their Instagram like, "Oh, the whales are out in town." So the fact of the matter is, you don't give a shit that you only apologise because you got called out. If you didn't get called out, you wouldn't apologise.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the muzzle comment. If you watch after, yeah, I said it, and I'm glad I said it. It felt good to say it. See, you only apologised on the couch because you're getting called out. You only bought that bullshit fucking supplement, whatever you want to
gift.
say, because
Yeah.
you're getting called out. Pete Stefanovic only issued an apology because he got called out.
Yep.
Don't be a fucking shitty person, and you won't have to get called out. If you want to call me out about some behaviour I've done, all hats off to you. If I've done something, call me out.
To me, it seemed like you just never liked him from the start. Were there other things off camera from the start that you saw of Jack that you were just like, I'm not about this man at all. I don't trust you. I don't like you.
Oh, we snuck out. We snuck out. All the boys snuck out for a beer in the first week down to Bondi, and as Jack says, we had bro time. Whatever.
Yeah. Cool.
We had bro time, but it's also the way, him and I were walking up, and he was showing me pictures of his ex on his phone, and this is week 1. So
Saying what though?
oh, look how hot she was.
What?
So you're making all your mistakes, mate, in the first week, and I actually don't want to get into it because I don't want to bury him that hard, believe it or not. But some of the narratives that he was using in that conversation that we had in week 1 actually bothered me a bit.
Yeah.
We got into some pretty topics just
Okay.
amongst the boys.
Okay.
And I wouldn't even say it on here.
Wow, that bad, hey?
It's just there's a way you can say things, and there's a way that you can put it, and sometimes that can be, from my point, even just you're a little bit concerning, and I wouldn't hang around you outside of the experiment.
Yeah. Wow.
So it's not that, and then it just piled on. Obviously, I was very quiet in the first dinner party. It was the article that came out, and then I see in an article the other day, he said, I addressed it all in that article, and everyone was very, very receptive of it.
Yeah.
And Jack used a lot of long words, and I'm pretty sure he doesn't know the fucking meaning to. So he just said it was addressed in the first one. Tori was pissed off that it kept coming up because huge red flags. You're applying for a marriage show while you got a girlfriend.
So, they actually were still together?
Well, it came out. Like John in the first one said, hang on a second, the dates aren't matching up here.
Yeah.
You're saying that you were talking to us, but saying you had a girlfriend. So that was actually on the show. He admitted, yep, I was seeing with somebody. Well, that's shitty behaviour.
Yeah.
Well, that's also just crazy too, because a lot of people that have come on, Richard and Ben, like they seem to have a liking to Jack.
And Collins.
And Collins too. Yeah.
Hey, let's get stuck into it.
Come
I'm
on,
ready.
that's what I'm talking about. What's your takes on that? Like, were they close on the show as well?
Ben,
or what?
I was pretty close to Ben. We caught up a few times for a beer, off camera, and we just talked about it. And I talked to Elle actually in the gym that she said, look, if Ben comes under fire, could you help him out?
Oh, that's nice.
I said, no problem. So she definitely had his back. Ben, I didn't rip into at all on the show. I will rip in post-show because I just think he's trying to make a mountain out of a molehill and become relevant. Your 15 minutes of fame's over. Why pull somebody down? Elle actually had his back on the show. I don't care what anyone says. Had his back. I don't care what he says about Jono. It's all bullshit. I don't believe a word out of his mouth. And again,
are you referring to the TikTok war that's going on between Jono and
it's
Ben?
Because me and Ben actually caught up in December. We caught up in December after filming, and I said, "Oh, are you seeing anyone?" And he said, "I was seeing somebody before the show." And then after the show, he ended up hooking back up with her.
He did not say that to us.
Nobody told us that.
Yeah, he said he was going through a rough time, and then he was at a coffee shop, and he bumped into her, and he was like, hey. And then things kicked off then.
It's not what he said to me.
Interesting.
Very, very interesting.
And Richard, after the Bucks party, I read up on everybody, and I thought Richard would be fascinating to get to know. I understand. I did watch the little clips. Richard didn't have very nice things, and it's not a tit for tat thing.
Yeah.
But I wasn't really that I found Richard a whining perpetual child at 62. Sorry.
But what I have to say though,
say?
he actually did own that. He knows he has his little tanty moments, and he's working on it. What do you have to say about that?
Well, fucking keep working, my friend. Keep fucking working.
Because I know you're really close with Andy now, Andrea, which was his match.
Yeah.
I love that.
I'd say 50% of my friends are female. I'd say I've got a 50-50 mix.
Yeah.
And if I was out with a friend yesterday who was helping me set back up because I'm back my Instagram up because it wasn't working.
Yeah. So
I was out with a friend of mine who's a really good looking girl who has a boyfriend. Now, and if you actually seen us in a coffee shop, you'd think, we're dating, but we're just mates. She's got a boyfriend. And me and Andy, she came and visited me. She was actually going down to see Lou, and she crashed at my place. Her and her daughter stayed in my room. I crashed on the couch.
Wow. With the doggies.
And where were the dogs?
Cute.
I think I had Cookie. Matilda went and slept with the girls.
So cute.
Andy's just got a great heart, a great soul. And again, she was all in. Richard's the one that fucked that up. I'm sorry. You can't use that terminology. If you really like somebody, you can't use that terminology.
Yeah.
I mean, my face just dropped when he said it.
Well, I definitely went in for that, and I think he knows where I'm coming from because I felt, the same or similar to where Andy was coming from. But I do have to commend you for not participating in the photo ranking challenge.
Yeah, that was very respectful.
It's a moron.
absolutely.
I always said that's a moron challenge. It's not a. It's a moron if you do it. That's what it is. It's a complete moron challenge.
Absolutely.
Because here's the thing that everyone wants to bitch at production at. I said no, and guess what?
Yeah, it
They
passed.
said okay.
Can I just ask though, even though you didn't participate in the photo ranking challenge, out of all the brides this year, who would you have preferred to be matched with?
Oh, I was joking the other day actually, and I was on a different podcast, and it must be Elle, but Jono got in there too quick, and then I actually sent Elle a message on her birthday, and I said, "Is Jono fulfilling your needs sexually?" What did you say? She had it on speakerphone. I said something else because I don't remember things that I say, but I had something really funny, and they were in stitches. And I stole that. From Ryan Reynolds off the movie Switch, when he comes in with his best mate, and his best mate's there, and the single guy comes in and he's going, "How's married life?" "Yeah, good." And he goes, "Is he fulfilling your needs sexually?" And she's like, "Too far." And so now Elle says that to me, like, "Too far, Tim. Way too far." Because I stayed with them up on the Gold Coast.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Nothing I do or say now surprises Elle or surprises Jono.
Yeah, that's cool,
it's pretty fun.
Are you still close to Sarah and Lauren as well at the moment? Because you guys seem to have like a really nice little...
I was talking to both of them yesterday. Yeah.
How are they like in real life, man? Because I ain't gonna lie to you, like seeing them on TV, like honestly, you guys had a great like little. It was like Tim's Angels, like Charlie's Angels sort of thing. You know what I mean?
We had a great time on the show.
That's good.
We had a great time. Obviously, I like people. You're on a show, and I remember in the debrief. And this is what all the cast members will actually say that they wish they had have listened to, which was, I remember Alex and Molly saying, "Leave nothing on the table, leave nothing unsaid, because you'll walk away from this experience and you'll go, shit, I wish I had have.
Yeah.
And
So true.
don't you?
Yeah.
Don't you wish you had have said a few? I don't.
Yeah.
I
left it
walked
on the
away
table.
and just went,
So lucky. Yeah. Yeah.
see ya.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just like the way that you guys would just go away in your little corner and just like debrief about certain things. I was just like, man, this is like me and my friends. This is crazy. And like the way that you guys all pulled up Jack that time when you guys went to the retreat. Like, to me, that was like, okay. It was genuinely like one of those nights that we all just have like with our friends. Did you realize that? Did you hear what the fuck that motherfucker said?
Yeah.
So, to me, you guys had a very interesting relationship. Do you guys still have that now as well?
Oh, for sure. Obviously, Sarah lives here. Lauren lives in Perth. I've been doing a bit of travelling at the moment. We haven't. I can't remember the last time. Oh yeah, the Fitzy and Whipper dinners. The last time we seen each other. We talk occasionally, and I have no I had a great relationship with them on the show. I've got just the same off the show. Whatever. Again, I have no dog in certain fights, and that's a dog I don't have a fight. I enjoy Jono and Elle. I enjoy like Ben. I mostly have an issue with because Ellie's actually a good person.
Yeah.
You could have just sucked it up and said, "Hey, I fucked up," and walk away. Richard could just. I've seen a few comments where he said, "Ask Andy why we weren't featured on the fucking reunion," and it's like it's not up to Andy. It's up to Alex and Molly. Like, why keep throwing her under the bus? You fucked up. Why don't you just own shit?
Was it a reason? Do you know the reason?
No, most people they've run out of time. I don't know. Like Jack had blame your best mate Jack. He had 2 fucking videos.
Yeah.
He had one video and then he had a second video.
Oh,
So
my.
that was Richard's time. So his good mate Jack is the reason he wasn't featured. It had nothing to do with Andrea. And as for, I did see a comment where he says the comment that brought the house down, it was just lighthearted. it didn't mean anything. And that's when I think you got a ton more work to do, because that's what finished it. So if you're now commenting and saying, oh, it was just a bit of fun, means you haven't fucking learned anything from it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Harrison, Jack and Tori standing there going, the whales are out. You didn't learn anything from it.
Yeah.
You're still a fucking moron.
Wow, come on now. Speaking about learning from past mistakes, I don't know how true that story was about Jaden sleeping with his ex's best friend.
I thought that was a comedy
I mean?
show.
Hey?
I read it wrong. What are you talking about? I thought we were supposed to laugh after that.
I ain't gonna lie to you. We weren't laughing. We were speculating. We were like,
Our
hey, man.
jaws were on the floor.
We couldn't believe it.
Really?
I'm telling you, bro. And so, now that all of the things just come out, like, where we're like, oh, like, do you actually write your own confessions and all these? Like, we were like just trying to decipher the whole thing. Because, like, to me, like, it didn't make no goddamn sense why you go on a show and then say something like that and your girl still stays. But now they're not together anymore.
Oh, come on. Jaden should be happy he found one person to sleep with him, let alone two.
God.
Oh, do you reckon? Yeah, you never really seemed to like him, hey?
How do you really feel?
Bigger tosser you couldn't find.
Really? Why do you say that?
It's just from day one, you could just see the way he walks around, and training was more important than the show. And again, they didn't beg us to come on the show. You actually begged them to come on the show. You filled in the applications. You got the test.
Yep.
You done all the paperwork to come on the show.
Yeah.
They didn't beg you.
Yeah.
So then when you're on the show, you're walking around like you're King Dick. I would have. Well, I'm glad he stayed, but he got lucky on the edit, because I saw through him from day one.
Was he rude to the crew or anything? Or?
I just think he thought filming was going to start when he decided.
Oh, okay. So he was calling the shots.
He's the man. He's the world champ.
Yeah.
That's what it did kind of seem like. I was even telling my girl about this. I was like, man, it's just so weird how, like, it almost seems like he wants to control the room. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I mean. Like, that's what I said to her, and she was like, I kind of feel the same. Like, almost like the way that
he's 27 and he lives at home. The fuck have you got to say to me?
Well, I just remember Elle, who was on my season that was matched with her brother, was saying the same thing about his brother.
His true colours came out at homestay when him and Mitch were going, oh, Eden's controlling. I've hung out with Eden since after the show. We've gone out to dinner a couple of times, like as a group.
Yeah.
Eden is Eden.
Eden's so lovely.
Eden's just sweet, lovable. She's just Eden is Eden. What you see is what you get.
Yeah,
She's
I get
pretty
that.
quiet.
Yep.
Jaden and what's his brother's name?
Mitch.
Mr. Unrelevant. Oh, Mitch. That's it. Mick. It's got Mitch. I don't give a fuck.
oh my God. You really don't give a fuck about it, man. You don't care about Jaden, do you?
Do not give a shit.
Wow.
You could see the way they were talking about her at homestay. They were setting that poor girl up to look like, oh, it was all her fault. He was trying to come off as, oh, I'm so badly damaged. Mate, he was. This is, and I know it might hurt Eden. He wasn't into her. He was just playing. He was playing the game.
Really?
That's the way. You're just asking me how I saw it.
Yeah.
That's all you're asking me for. That's the way I saw it.
Right.
It's kind of like the letter when everyone's just sort of. I sort of looked around and had this big grin. It's like, did we start laughing now? Because I actually thought it was a comedy. I thought, I'm looking around at 18 people going, you guys, or 20 people, you guys all don't believe this shit, do you?
So you think he made it up for airtime?
I don't think he made it up. I 100%. I will put my last dollar on it. I will actually, 100% he made it up. Are you kidding? It's like the tears. That was all just squeezed out.
But honestly, I can kind of see where it's coming from, because, like,
come on.
There was another bit too, like, that really killed me, where, like, he had to wait for that moment, up until, like, everyone was done for him to say that I love you to Eden. Like, that's something that's very intimate.
on.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that was very staged for me.
I've been cheated on, right? It's the most devastating, soul crushing thing from a male's point of view.
Yeah.
And you're telling me, world champ kickboxing, you had 18 people coming up saying they slept with your girlfriend and you didn't take somebody's head off. It doesn't add up. If you had 3 blokes come up and say to you, hey, I slept with your girlfriend, and you go, oh, and you're the world champion of kickboxing, are you saying you wouldn't take somebody's head off?
I don't want to go to jail, Tim.
I'm just saying, it all just doesn't add up. I've only got to hear it once and I'm out the door.
Yeah.
The whole
Absolutely.
story made no sense. I just thought he was writing a comedy.
But why would you make that up, though?
Yeah.
Like, that's something that's very, like...
Because you've been kicked in the head too many times. That's why you fucking make it up.
Poor Jaden. Oh my God.
Hey, man. James, if you're hearing this, we want you to come on. We want to hear this shit is true or not. Because honestly, though, like, even me, like...
But his
hearing
girlfriend's come out and said it wasn't true. Jaden wanted the limelight. I mean,
That's
it all starts
crazy.
to come out now that, you know, he made out with that girl from the previous season.
Yeah, Carolina from my season.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then sent the pictures in and tagged her in it and then
Yes.
tagged himself. It's all true. It's all out there.
Yeah.
So you wanted people to know, but you were dating somebody at that time. So
Yeah.
his whole story was bullshit from start to finish.
I actually wanted to ask about Lou real quick. Man, we love Lou. I ain't gonna lie to
Yeah.
you. But most important, we loved your guys' combination together. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think the craziest thing for me was, it was just almost like, I felt like Lou was kind of making up how she was. Like, from the very moment that we saw her coming up to the wedding with the chicken wing and everything, bro, I was loving your commentary. But it was just crazy to me because I was like, surely she's not like that the whole way. But she never changed. I wanted to ask you, like, is she really like that?
That's 100% her. There was no acting going on there.
Mellow, chill as a cucumber, nothing.
She's very eccentric and just very open spiritually.
Oh, 100%.
Like-
She's open.
Tell us about Lou. Tell us about Lou.
There's no question. Lou is exactly how you see Lou
Yeah.
on screen is how she is off screen.
Yeah.
There was no acting. I pushed her, she pushed me. But people are saying I needed therapy, not a wife. What you didn't see a lot is we were actually having, and I understand it's not friends at first sight, but let's face it, the hit rate ain't that good. If you look at the 11 seasons, how many people stay together. But overall, we were actually having a lot of fun.
Yep.
And I wasn't restricting her in any way.
Apart from the boob scene.
Apart from her wearing the shirt and the boob, you've got tits too.
Yeah, you got boobs too.
I'm just about to go on a weight loss program as I look at myself, huh?
Lou's mad for that one. Pissed in the cornflakes right up.
Well, you know, Patty's on the camera here and it was just so tense in the room. And then as she went scooting by, she went, and you have boobs too. Patty's looking at me and just...
Patty's like...
Patty was just about to start laughing, and then I said, yeah, she really pissed in my cornflakes as I looked back.
Oh, that
and then I think
scene.
you started shuttering the camera. It was pretty funny.
That was hilarious.
So overall, we were having a good time. Now people say, oh, we should have left, we should have done that, but then who would have been there to torment Jack?
But that was my issue with this season. Like, I felt like there were a lot of friend zones and friendships. Like, the lack of intimacy bothered me a little bit. I'm not going to lie.
I get it.
She wanted to see a lot more fucking. That's what she wanted to see. That's what Sal wanted to see.
It's called Pornhub.
I know, but
I will
wanted to
get
see-
you 6-month subscription and I'll send it to you.
I wanted to see your boobs bounce off together. Like, where was that?
Wow,
So-
she's into her shit, man.
Pissing in cornflakes again. Nah, but you have said that before. Because I guess like the previous seasons
there
have been
wasn't a
like
lot
that.
on this one.
Yeah.
There wasn't. I'll get it. That
I know you say that you're a self-proclaimed tin man, but even when like she would come up and hug you, and like I think one time when you were very vulnerable, like she went up and she kind of kissed you on the cheek, and you kind of just sat there literally like a tin man robot, and you didn't know how to receive that affection.
I know, but a part of it also is you would know. There's a question, and I actually talked to Kate about this, which was my producer.
Which was mine too.
Yeah,
Shout out to Kate.
Shout out to Kate. Kate's the best. I talked to Kate, and a part of the process, because you got to think they put a lot of time and effort into the show itself.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
If you turn around and you don't see the person somebody that you'd normally date is still willing to give it a go.
Yeah.
You've got to answer yes to that.
Yeah,
I don't care what
course.
anyone says.
Yep.
I think Tori said, if I don't get exactly what I want, I told them that I would walk. In some part of that application, that's bullshit because it's a very key question.
Mm-hmm.
So I sort of took that on board along with when I got debriefed at Channel 9 about what to do and not to do. That if I turned around it wasn't there, that I would still give it some time rather than do a Maddie and Ash and dash in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
So that's what we did. We
Did you guys even participate in the intimacy challenge week?
We had the
5-minute
melting hug.
kissing?
Oh, yeah, they did. Remember?
Yeah, but you didn't even. Did you do the kissing one?
No, we didn't. We had the staring and the melting hug.
So you didn't even do the kissing one,
didn't
or the
do the
cupping,
kissing one.
the genital cupping.
No, we didn't do the genital cupping. No, we didn't do that one. Because we didn't do the phone one either, believe it or not. We didn't.
Yeah,
we
so
didn't-
they cater it based on where you're at in your relationship. So every couple on my season, I don't know about yours, but we got different sex toys depending on like how intimate we had been.
Right.
So that's why you guys got the anal beads, right?
We got them all. We got the full
And
package.
but
You got
then I
everything,
anal
huh?
beads and everything. They were like, "Yo, guys got to spice your shit up."
Yeah.
There wasn't one thing in there for me. The whole box was for Lou. Yeah.
Stop! You didn't get the anal stimulator?
No.
Stop!
No.
This was like a double-ended thing as well. It's like,
God.
damn.
Bro, the way that you remember these things.
Yeah, one went up the culo, and then the other one was like
my
wobbling
God.
your fucking thing or something. I don't know. I don't
Shit.
know how it actually worked.
I'm going to start watching this show now.
The craziest thing about that whole period was the phone challenge when Tim and Sarah. That one was wild to me. You know what I mean? Because for me, right, if I ever had a challenge like that, or like if, there was ever just like a point where my girl just got a little bit, like scared, what's going on?
Yeah,
Can
bit
I go through your
insecure,
phone? I'm
yeah.
like, hey, man, here you go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I ain't got nothing to hide. So that was before we knew about the whole she's seeing her ex thing. You know what I'm saying? We didn't know how to fucking make it that. We didn't know what to even say about that.
Yep.
Because like, if you have nothing to hide, why ain't you giving us the fucking phone? What's your take on that? Don't try and save it. It's okay.
I'd like to plead the fifth. What's Trump say when he's in that spot? Look, it was... Trump's always, I'm pleading the fifth.
Wow.
What's my thought on the phone thing? I think it would have answered a few questions for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Tim was cool with it,
Yeah.
and they just moved on. So
And then they
I
moved
don't
on
know
only
whether
to get
we
back
had
to where
the
they were.
phone. I'm just trying to think back because Lou could have looked like we didn't. I don't know whether we had the phone thing or we just said, "Do you want to do it?" Like she could have looked at mine, I could look at mine.
Yeah.
I understand when Tori and Jack went through each other's phone, Jack still had him proposing to his ex and then nudie pictures, which we all seen of his ex on there.
I haven't seen
We didn't
them
see none of
ones.
that. Yeah.
You'd think if you watch the show, you're going to clean your phone up.
Yeah.
I actually scrubbed mine with some bleach.
Yeah, one day.
Dipped it in bleach for a couple of days. I got a specialist in that literally to wipe that thing out.
The iCloud wiped clean, bro.
Exactly.
Wiped nice and clean. I just really thought that was a very, very interesting, challenge. They really tried to spice things up.
I mean, Sarah had big balls to walk back in there the next time because you're walking in front of the firing squad,
Yeah.
She's a strong personality. Kid.
That's tough to walk back in.
She's strong, bro.
That's like Kim Kardashian in the roast the other day with the football player. With,
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady.
Yeah.
When she got up and then she just got booed down.
I know,
And
bro, that
she's
was
standing
tough,
there with
bro.
it. Like that's tough.
I know,
then you've
man.
still got your script to get
Yeah.
out.
Exactly.
You know,
that's
man. Like the
tough.
job ain't done. And you thought that was it. And then after that, Tim then found out from Eden. and to then come back from that again.
Yeah.
So it was just one of those things where it was like, when does the fight stop for a man like Tim? You know what I mean? Like, it's only so much as a man or as a woman that's going through that much fire, you know what I mean? Like, to still continue to have faith in a relationship or a person. You know what I mean? I always think, like, that's just so crazy about human beings, right? Is no matter how much we get burnt sometimes, you're always going to have to go back. Like, you always want to go back. Like, you know, there's always like this little instinct that you have, just, what if it works out? What if I just try a little bit harder? What if I can change this person? But the truth of the matter is, man, like, a lot of times you can't change somebody. It has to come from themselves.
True.
You know what I mean? So, yeah.
That's why I had a lot of respect for Tim and Sarah, because I felt like they really gave the experiment a go. Do you know what I mean? The only thing that spoiled their storyline for me was that Tim leaked that he already has a girlfriend early on, and I was like, oh, I'm not going to follow their storyline now.
I get it. I actually had dinner with Tim on the weekend, and it's funny. I wish his personality had come out a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because we had dinner. It was me, Elle, Jono, Tim, Eden, and Andrea.
Oh, nice.
Wow,
and
that's a good squad.
Because you can't get drunk. People think you can get drunk on the show. You can't get drunk.
Really? We got smashed.
We didn't.
Oh,
I was sneaking
what?
whiskey into my.
Oh, it would have been me.
I snuck in tequila, but they busted me before I got in the car because they had a whole bottle of Don Julio.
Yeah, wow.
And then they said, yeah, that ain't coming into the tent. So I got busted before I even left Sky Suites.
Oh, I think our season must have spoilt that for you guys, maybe.
Yeah,
we were smashed.
I got the tap on the shoulder. I was even drinking water one night and they tapped me on the shoulder just because they tapped me on the shoulder so much during the show.
Just to make sure.
And it's like, hey, yeah, you got to ease up. And I turned back to Stevie and said, it's fucking water. And he goes, oh, sorry. Control room must be just watching me pounding back water.
Jeez.
Jono actually had to leave one show. He was a little bit drunk, and me at the retreat.
Wow,
I was drunk.
most of us were like going to the toilet vomiting and then coming back and be like, let's go.
Whoa.
I didn't know that.
That's why our season was so wild.
Right.
Yeah.
And Al said a lot of that too. He was like, bro, I was
he
shit
kept
faced
getting
the whole
cut
time.
off. Al definitely got cut off very early on, all the time.
The shoeies.
Yeah,
man, Shuey Al.
Shoey guy.
Shuey Al.
Wow.
My God, man, that's something else. Hey, we touched a little bit on Harrison too before. What are your thoughts on his whole unmarriables little tangent that he had on the Instagram?
He's got to be the most misogynistic cockhead that Australia's fucking put out, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's trying to
Andrew
kinda...
Tate is over, my friend. Like it's not the time, it's not the place.
Yep.
His bullshit little rants. If you're gonna do it, man, go into a studio and have put a little bit of production into it because it looks like shit.
He said at least marinate it nice, so package it. So
at least if you're gonna put a turd out there, polish the fucking thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Sprinkle some glitter on it.
Exactly. The unmarriables and just it's funny. Just when I'm sitting there taking a shit in the morning, occasionally I'll flip through and look at Harrison's page. I don't know whether it reminds me. I'm not sure.
Oh my God.
I'm not sure what it is.
That is a video.
You know? And I do notice since he's been giving out advice, he has gone down in followers.
Really?
So that's quite funny.
Yeah.
It is quite funny. And
I don't know what just made him just wake up one day, choose violence, and just no one
Out of
said
nowhere.
nothing.
Yeah.
These people are unmarriable.
especially when you consider where we're at. Like if you look at where we're at today with 35, I don't want to bring the mood down, but what's happening with violence and everything like that, and the courts and to this is not the time or the place, dude. Read the room. That's against. I guess that's why he was such a fuckwit on last season. It's just read the room. But again, Alex Molly, Channel 9, Inderman Shine, they can't make you be a fuckwit. That all comes naturally.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah, yeah.
That's a natural gift given from God. Praise Lord.
But was there anyone, just
to be a
quickly,
dickhead.
just quickly,
some people get brains. I didn't get those either, but
no, you did. But was there anyone on your season that got a really good edit that wasn't the way that they are in real life? Because I know there was a lot of that on my season.
Well, I actually think Jaden got off lightly because I was on the bus with Lou heading to we were heading to Ash and Madeline's wedding, and I said, "You're not buying this shit, are you?" And she go, "Tim, you just got to give up on it. Like you're sounding really like snarky now." And I felt that the group was a few people were pushing back. So at that point, read the room. This is mostly, if you keep going on this, so look, the majority are going to believe it. I'm not gonna sit out there with my balls hanging in the breeze. So I'll just
what you're saying is
I'll tuck them away and move on. Because
the first one fucked me up. I know. Sometimes just be sitting on the toilet, take the shit, and I just find my way to Harris's page, and then this.
This is too
we
funny.
needed more of this, honestly.
Yeah.
But I think that is the craziest thing about these shows. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a story. You know what I mean?
Yep.
They really actually cast all these people to kind of remind society that what your norm isn't what everyone's norm is as well.
The casting is impeccable. I would want nobody off the show that was on my season. I wouldn't change the dynamic at all. Not at all.
Yeah.
You couldn't have 12 Jadens or 12 Jacks or 12 Ridges or 12 me's or 12 Richards. It would just be a boring ass show watching any one of us all the time.
Yeah,
it just would be.
The shit doesn't
day
work.
in and day out. So I think the dynamic of Married at First Sight's two dynamics. It's the dynamic of you and the couple, and then it's the dynamic of the group. You know yourself. You never know how you're going to act in front of a camera. Not act, but how you're going to be.
Yep.
It's intimidating to walk into a room. It's intimidating. You've got a lot of big personalities there.
Yes.
You're walking in, and it's like some people, like when you're doing your casting call in your living room, you're very confident in your own space.
Yeah.
You walk into a wall of cameras, some big personalities, and then you've got to pipe up. You've got to do what you were saying.
Yes.
3 months ago.
auditions.
3 months ago, you said you're the man or you're the woman. You know,
Show
on
us.
this, on that.
Yeah.
So door slides open.
Yep.
The floor is yours.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Some
so
people
true.
choke, some people don't, some people pop, some people go.
Yeah. Well,
So-
I mean, Tori had a really big backstory. She said she was quite like alpha. You didn't see that side to her at all?
Whatever. Come on.
All right,
Really?
boy. You guys
Like
didn't-
she comes across as a really strong, fiery, independent woman.
I'll admit when I was wrong.
Yeah.
They are built for each other. I wish them nothing but good luck, goodbye, and good riddance.
Yeah.
There's no question there. I just think it's funny. There was that one comment where, Tori said Timothy doesn't know who he's dealing with. I'm a boss bitch. I deal with sleazy middle-aged men for a living.
Yes,
Yeah,
I remember that.
Remember that? Remember that
Yes.
comment? And that was put into her mouth. Well, you don't know who you're dealing with. I used to deal with gangsters.
Yeah.
You know? So,
I was in prison.
So I know how to negotiate a deal.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, for real.
But it's that everyone can be cocky and confident in a voxy when you're sitting there.
Yeah.
But face to face,
Yeah.
not so much.
Yeah. Yeah, she did have a lot to say about your smug face. I didn't like what she said in reference to caste and being on the top of the food chain
yeah,
and she's
Oh,
at the bottom.
but that's that mean girl thing, and that's that smug face. I thought that was one of the funniest things, the highlights of the show for me, because smug was sitting right next to you. Like I was just arresting. Smug
Yeah.
is Jackie Boy sitting right next to you.
Yeah.
Smug
But
with
Cass,
Jack.
the top of the food chain and that sort of thing, that's bullshit.
That didn't quite sit right
There was
with
no
me.
food chain when it come to anyone. The way I felt about the table.
Yep.
Again, if we look at the moment with Tristan and the gift giving thing, and everyone looks at my face and says, because I've read the comments, why didn't you just rip into him? Because I'm not believe it or not, I'm not a grandstander. That was Tristan's moment, and it was his moment to lead.
Yeah.
If he needed some backup, I'm there. And if whatever he was going to run with, I mightn't agree with it.
Yeah.
Like if Tristan said, I forgive you, which since then he's completely dropped that ball and said Jack can go fuck himself.
Yeah.
But at that moment, that's what he wanted, so it wasn't my moment to kill.
Genuinely, I was like, this guy has got a problem with you. It's in your best interest to hear what Tristan has to say because you wronged him.
Yeah.
You apologize after. You know what I'm saying? So like, and now he's trying to pay restitution with a lousy ass gift that's actually amplifying the whale comment. You're giving him supplements. A supplement gift voucher.
And was it a keychain that said you're enough
You're
or something?
enough.
That's some bullshit. Like, honestly, man, that was the most condescending gift. It was like, just don't give me shit.
It didn't make sense. Like, where did that even come from? Like, what was his thought pattern? I didn't get it.
I heard from a little bird that's what his that's what he told his ex, that he gave it to Tristan to let her know that he was thinking of her during the show.
Oh,
what? So that's obviously a saying that he has obviously said to his ex, and that's like a meaningful thing between them.
Must be, yeah.
And then he put that quote on a keychain and gave it to Tristan.
There's a little bit of a symbol.
that's an Easter egg right there.
Oh my God, that is spicy.
That's an Easter egg right there.
But again, she's moved on. I actually invited Courtney to the reunion. I was trying to get her to come as my plus one.
Can you imagine?
But didn't pick up. And I just thought it'd be funny. I love a good gag. And that would have been the ultimate. But it didn't happen. And Courtney's moved on. Jack and Tori are happy on the Gold Coast.
Yep.
Fucking knock yourselves out.
Wow.
Literally.
What was scarier though, not knowing how to fly that helicopter or MAFS?
MAFS.
Oh my God.
Somebody said, would you go to somebody said, would you do MAFS again?
Yeah.
Or do a year in prison? Prison any day.
Are
of the
you
week.
serious?
Any day of the week.
Is that how much it was like a big toll on
That
you?
was just, you know what? I'm done. I'm glad I'm done.
Yeah.
But if you wanted me to back it up, I couldn't do it.
Appreciate you, Tim, man. Honestly, it means a lot
This
to
was
us,
so
man.
much
Thank
fun.
you.
You guys are awesome. Great synergy. A lot of fun.
Come on. I'll see you guys in the next one, eh?
Bye.
Ciao, ciao.
Reality.